Hey guys, I'll give it a few minutes and then we'll get started. Okay guys, y'all ain't seeing double. I'm trying something new. Hopefully it'll do what I need it to do. So bear with me. I may wind up having to turn my camera back on. Alright, let's try this. It must not gonna be letting me do it. Hmm. Well, at least I can say I tried, right? Let me throw my own self out. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I did make a few of y'all moderators. The only thing I ask is that if we have any trolls in or anyone being disrespectful, and by disrespectful I mean, disrespecting other people, uh, then you can kick them out or do whatever we need to do. But all right. Dr. Feinstein said Friday the possibility of changing the definition for fully jabbed is certainly on the table as the numbers of new cases and hospitalizations continue to surge due to the new variant. Reporters have continued to ask Frankenstein and the White House about the possibility of changing the definition, which currently states a person is fully jabbed when they have received 2 jabs of Pfizer or Moderna regimen or a shot of the J&J jab. In the face of the new thing, some have suggested the definition should include the 3rd jab. Frankenstein maintained for weeks that the definition would not change until new data suggested it should, but Friday morning he finally planted his flag in the war of words around the illness when he suggested that some terms may and in one case should change. It is a bit of semantics in that fully vaccinated for fully jabbed. I'm sorry, YouTube. I did not say the V word. For the purpose of the regulations and requirements that people have is to be what you are considered as being fully jabbed, Frankenstein said in an interview with CNBC's Squawk Box. But there's no doubt that the optimum jab is with a 3rd one. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Sure, Frankenstein, we're supposed to believe everything you said. I mean, come on, guys, we've discussed it before. I honestly believe this man is off his rocker. Even just about as bad as Potato Head. Here's an interesting little tidbit. You know how we always talk about Potato Head. And as I've said before, I honestly feel sorry for the man. In some ways, not always. Alright, come on. Alright, this comes from Fox News. Biden commits multiple gaffes in commencement speech, cause Witch and Hills the president. You know, his second in command. Potato Head appeared at the South Carolina State University commencement ceremony Friday to speak of the historic Black University where he committed several verbal gaffes. At different points, Potato Head accidentally referred to Vice Potato Head as president and reflected on the George Family Justice Act, Policing Act, policing, sorry. On police reform, I share frustration. Potato Head, Potato at one point, know the family well. The George Family Justice Act, Policing Act. I know the family well, Biden said. Oh well, mangling the name of Democrats, George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Apparently, the man is unable to read a teleprompter, too. At another point, Potato Head spoke glowingly of historically black college universities, touting, of course, president that's the vice president is a proud Howard alum. He previously referred to her as president in March. Potato Head used part of a speech to push for a wide-ranging election and campaign finance reform bill that passed the Democratic-controlled House along party lines earlier this year, but Republicans vehemently opposed the bill, which is stalled in a Senate split 50-50 between the two major parties. The GOP criticizes the measure of a federal power grab and takeover of the state's long-standing ability to control their elections. I know that Potato Head has referred to the witch and heels plenty of time as president. Guys, I don't know which one's worse, the one that's in there now or the backup. I really and truly don't. I don't care for either one of them, and I don't care who knows it. I've never liked Potato Head, and I surely do not like what the vice one stands for. Okay. This is off of Al Jazeera. Hey, Ghetto. I'm glad you did, hun. You're actually supposed to be blue. Because I went back in chat last night and made you a mod. I'll figure it out in a little bit. Hang on. I might be able to do it this way. No, it says you're a mod. Okay, so it's just on the phone. I can't tell. You're welcome, hon. All right, let's get back up here where I was. Russia demands Ukraine and ex-Soviet nations barred from NATO. Here we go with Russia demanding other things as well. Hey, Monique, how are you? Russia on Friday published draft security pacts demanding Ukraine and other ex-countries be barred from joining NATO, and that restrictions on troops and weapons in Europe be put in place. The documents, which had been submitted to the U.S. and its allies earlier this week, also call for a ban on sending U.S. and Russian warships and aircraft to areas from where they can strike each other's territory, and demand a rollback on the deployment of alliance troops near Russian borders. Hey, Von Eric, how are you? The tough demands appear certain to be rejected by the U.S. and its allies, which have emphasized that Russia does not have a say in NATO enlargement. Ukraine's foreign ministry said Kyiv had an exclusive sovereign right to run its own foreign policy, and only it and NATO could determine the relationship between them, including the question of Ukrainian membership. Hey, Shift Kicker, have fun. To hear, Vaughn. It urged Moscow to re-engage. I hate when that happens. It urged Moscow to re-engage with a peace process in eastern Ukraine, where about 15,000 people have been killed in a 7-year conflict between Ukrainian government troops and Russian-backed separatists. Meanwhile, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg warned that any security talks with Moscow would need to take into account the alliance's concerns and involve Ukraine and other partners. I understand that Russia thinks it's big and bad, but I don't believe even the United States is stupid enough to try to tell NATO what to do. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. There's just something about NATO I don't like. I've never really cared for it. And here's something very interesting. We've all talked about, you know, quote unquote dark winter. Biden warns of winter illness death for U.S. unjabbed. Warning comes as G7 calls the new sickness the world's biggest threat to public health, and UN chief appeals for an end to jab holding. And this was published on December 17th, 2021, but I just came across it. They really should, Monique. They really should. I completely agree with that. Potato Head is urging Americans to get jabbed, or the third one, third and fourth, maybe fifth, sixth, something like that. I done lost count of them all. I'm not even going to lie. Amid a surge of cases linked to the new variant, warning of a winter of severe illness and death for those who are yet to get inoculated for the sickness. Potato Head's appeal on Thursday came as the group of 7 countries called the sickness the biggest threat to public health, and the UN chief called for an end to global jab inequity. Scientists remain uncertain how dangerous the highly mutated, notice that word, mutated sickness is, but early data suggests it can be more resistant to jabs and is more transmissible than the other variant. Oh, wow, Monique, I didn't know that. It seems like I heard something about the US doing something similar, but I'll have to look it up. I've been on the run again today. Today was payday, so you know you have to get out and pay bills and whatnot. In the U.S. in recent weeks, the average number of daily cases has risen by 30%. On December 1st, the daily count was 86,000, but on December 14th, it had shot up to 117,000. It's here now, it's spring, and it's going to increase, Potato Head said, referring to the new sickness for the unjabbed. We are looking at a winter of severe illness and death. for themselves, their families, and the hospitals that will soon be overwhelmed. He added, the only real protection is to get your jab. It is gross. Oh wow, probably not. I mean, it's seriously coming down to that. You know, as soon as somebody where we can't even leave our own towns. You know, whether it's by martial law or these stupid rules that potato heads and other country leaders is trying to impose on us. Okay, we talked about I believe it, Monique. I really do. And it's sad. It really is. They're pushing this way too far. Here we go with another. I believe it's shift kicker. I believe so. That's crazy. It is, Monique. I agree, Ghetto. I really agree. I worry every day when my youngest daughter goes to school. Will it be that day that they round them up and they take them and force them to get the arm candy, against their will, and definitely against our wills, because they could do it. Excuse me. Russia demands NATO roll back from East Europe and stay out of Ukraine. Russia said on Friday it was a legally binding guarantee that any military in Eastern Europe and Ukraine, part of a wish list of security guarantees it wants to negotiate with the West. You know, I understand that the United States, pretty much helped along this thing with between Ukraine and Russia. But I honestly believe that Russia does not want to have peace. Whether it's with Ukraine, with NATO, whether it's, with the US, it's better to them. Putin's getting older. And pretty soon it's going to be where either A, he can't control his own country, or B, he'll be lost his window of opportunity to gain what he really and truly wants, which is, to basically be an emperor. I believe it's shift. I really do, and that's sad. And I mean, you have health professionals, that's saying not to get it. You have doctors and nurses that's walking off their jobs because they refuse to take it. Bug, how are you, honey? All right. Oh, wow. That's really sad. And he needs that money, to help raise his kids. Shoot, I'm walking around in shorts and barefooted again today. Well, I had on shoes when I went to town, but when I got home, them things come off. But at least I don't show my feet ghetto. I'm gonna give you shit, ghetto. And we've discussed, the whole Iran nuclear deal before. And they're still back at it again. Trying to discuss, whatever. But negotiations at indirect talks between Iran and the U.S. have just weeks to reach an agreement on rescuing the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. European powers and the talks coordinator said as negotiations adjourned on Friday for at least 10 days. Take your time, Monique. Um, and I seen it. I want to say it was on the Watchman's video upload today. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, but he was talking about the other day I showed y'all the map of Israel where Iran's got places picked out already, to bomb them and whatever. Well, Israel's got a plan. They're fully ready to attack Iran's nuclear sites. Hey, Mrs. Ghetto, how are you, honey? I'm glad to see you in here. But like I said, I worry more about Iran and Israel than I do the rest of it. If it comes to a world war, you know, we can't do nothing to stop it. Our country's just going to get drugged right into the middle of it. It's good to see you too, hon. And now we have the big bear and the red dragon. Xi tells Putin that Russia and China are better than allies, the Kremlin says. The video call, the second between the two leaders in 2021, came a week after Putin and Potato Head also met virtually to discuss mounting tensions in the Russia and Ukraine border. During the U.S. Russia call, Potato Head warned that Russia would face painful sanctions if it invaded Ukraine again, while Putin demanded legally binding guarantees that Ukraine would not be permitted to join NATO, as the move would directly threaten its border. Biden's Potato Head, Lord, I'm getting bad at this. Potato Head said U.S. would not accept Russia's demand. According to CNBC, ahead of Wednesday's call, the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said discussions between allies Russia and China are necessary amid the U.S. and NATO's very aggressive rhetoric. reported Reuters. China, on the other hand, is facing Western backlash for its aggressions in the South China Sea, the Taiwan Strait, and its own Xinjiang region. Among other areas of concern, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said the goal of Xi and Putin's meeting was to further enhance the high-level mutual trust between the two sides, according to Al Jazeera. Guys, we've pretty much seen, an alliance coming between the two for years and years. They're both communist countries. They have a lot of the same political beliefs. And it's sad. But this right here is what really pissed me off. And y'all know I try not to talk like that on here because there's, a kid could always pop up in here or whatnot. I should really and truly figure out how to stop that, but I'm sure there's a way. Russian politician. What did I do? Russian politician calls for kidnapping of U.S. congressman on live TV. Excuse me. Miss Virginia, how are you, honey? With tensions between the United States and Russia already at a boiling point, the Kremlin's extensive propaganda apparatus is throwing more gasoline at the fire. Appearing on state TV show 60 Minutes on Wednesday, State Duma member and chairman of Russia's Nationalist Rodina Party, Alexei Zervalov, I guess is how you would say that, openly advocated for the abduction and imprisonment of U.S. Congressman Ruben Gallego, Democrat from Arizona, over comments he made about how to handle the ongoing Ukrainian and Russian crisis. After returning to the U.S. from his recent trip to Ukraine, Gallego urged the Potato Head administration to take additional steps to deter further Russian aggression towards its neighbor by sanctioning Russia and arming Ukraine. In his interview from Kyiv on Sunday, Gallego told CNN's Frederica Whitfield that Russian President Vladimir Putin's appetite for another escalation in Ukraine may be tempered only by a harsh military response. Gallego said that Ukraine should be provided with more advanced weaponry that will actually put a toll on the Russian troop movement. And, unfortunately, that means we will have to kill some Russians, he added. That Russians only understand pure power, and we have to give the Ukrainian army and special forces the ability to do that. While it was clear that Representative Gallego was referring to the armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine in the event the Kremlin resorts to further escalation, his words sparked fury in Moscow. Hey, JH, how are you, honey? Following the clip that showcased Gallego's commentary, host of Russia's 60 Minutes, Olga Skabeva, described Americans as parasites who don't know history. Zargalov added that Gallegos should be placed under surveillance and kidnapped whenever he travels again in order to transport him to Russia. He specified we should be looking for that bud, and if he travels anywhere, grab him like bout, and bring him over here. The Russian lawmaker was referring to notorious Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, who was extradited from Thailand to the U.S. in 2010 after a sting operation by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency 2 years earlier. Zarkalov specified that Gallegos should be snatched from wherever he is at, brought to Russia, and forced to explain whom he wanted to kill. Guys, I understand, that one of our congressmen shouldn't have said what he said, but still. I mean, it's sad that it's come to this. So, how's everybody doing today? Now that I've finished reading the news. I I've learned I've got to stay out the Dollar Tree, guys. I spend way too much money in that place. I spend more in Dollar Tree than I do in Walmart. I picked up, a lot of non-food essential items. But I'll get that video done tonight. Did y'all see Native and Ghost live this morning on the Reload? I honestly thought that both of them had, probably heard about the Georgia Guidestones. The Guidestones ain't really nothing to play with, that's for sure. And I've actually got a plan laid out for yeah. I'll eat when I get done. I've actually got a plan laid out for a live. I don't know if maybe the ladies that said they'll come up with me Sunday wants to, give opinions on it, or maybe I need to do that as a video instead of doing a live on it. It's been on my heart now for a few days to do something on the Book of Revelations. I hear you, Monique. I'll be eating here shortly. I think I'm gonna have a baked potato for supper. We got a good restaurant here in town. They do like barbecue and steak tips and stuff like that. And they do big potatoes for baked potatoes, and oh my goodness, some things are off the chain. I just add a little bit of butter and a little bit of salt to mine. I don't do all the sour cream and the extra toppings and all. Miss Virginia, you want to come up with us on Sunday on the panel? Oh, I like some chicken pot pie, Miss Monique. I usually like the homemade chicken pot pie. Hey, Miss Virginia,
Hey girl,
how are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to come say hi. I'm not sure about Sunday. So you're Eastern time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what time were you talking about Sunday?
About 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If
Okay.
we need to go later, we can go later.
Yeah, I'm usually up really late on Saturdays. I'm Pacific time, so that would be like 11 for me, and that's a crunch in the morning. I'm doing my son and all of that. So for
Right.
me, it would I don't even if it's like noon, but I don't want to mess up your schedule. I know there were other people that were interested, so I just wanted to make sure to talk to you in person about it because or I can
Right.
come in as soon as I can. I might just be late.
That'll be fine.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll probably still be going.
yeah, yeah. I love the idea though. So, and I'm really enjoying your news and what you're reading and stuff because a lot of us don't get too deep into watching the news or over looking into things that can be really there's so much information, it's overwhelming. And so I love the little things that you pick out and find. It kind of helps so that then we don't have to sift through a bunch of crap, and there's scary stuff going on.
There really is, especially with Russia trying to show their behinds, and
Hmm.
then you got Israel and Iran, pulling theirs, and it
Yeah,
just worries me.
it worries me too. I don't know what to think about any of it. Are they just posturing? Are they trying to be intimidating and pluming their feathers, or is it really about to kick off? I'm not sure. At this point, I'd rather see something happen so that we can start rebuilding than have this constant stress looking, wondering where, what, how.
Right. I agree, and that's the only way we're gonna be able to rebuild back is for everything to get tore down.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, that's a scary concept, but I think that there's a lot of us, still out here that we'd be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
it'd be scary, but we could do it.
I'm doing good, Monique. I'm pushing through.
I
Uh,
understand that.
yeah, Monique says I think they're peacocking. I kind of think they are too. I think they're I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe they're all capable of fighting each other in a pretty explosive manner, but I'm not sure that anyone wants to throw the first domino and get it all tumbling down. Exactly, Monique. It would kick off
Hmm.
from there, I think.
If it's not China, it's gonna be North Korea. North Korea's been too quiet lately. I ain't heard and seen nothing out of North Korea.
Yeah, you're right. And because they are so secluded and they don't we can't really communicate too much. We don't have good relations as far as, I mean, T-Dog went and saw them, shook their hands, and I think that was the first time in years that a US president had been to North Korea, but we have no idea what they're doing, really. I
None at
saw an
all.
article yesterday. They've been doing public executions. Now this was according to the article, and it could have been BS. We all know how BS is out there, but yeah.
I did see that. I can't remember where I seen it at, but I seen it and I was like, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Because they were watching something or something.
Mhm.
It was something completely stupid. Why execute a person for them watching something?
It was
Which,
something stupid. Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, it was a U.S. show or something like that.
Oh, you know what it was? It was people who are watching K-pop, the Korean music bands. A lot of those are actually from South Korea, but it was people who were caught either viewing it or collecting it or whatever. It had to do with the music, and they were publicly executed.
Right.
Part of me thinks we need that in this country for certain things, but on the other
Mm.
hand, it does wreck people's minds to see it. Although, if I don't know if anyone remembers, they showed Saddam Hussein getting hung in 2003 or 4 on TV. They showed it live. I remember, and they showed it all day on a loop. Somebody kicking the bucket.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm with you. I believe that here we should have, firing squads or even public hangings for certain crimes,
Yeah,
for the P word.
yeah, I
Mm.
agree. I'd handle
It,
those myself.
right, me and you both. Let me see somebody coming at a child that way, or even just, to mistreat them, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, if I think that mothers, wives, grandmothers, and the like would go far more ape shit if on people like that than men would. I think women would be the worst enemy if anyone was caught in that compromising, you know,
Yeah,
activity. I think women would tear the eyes and skin off of off of guilty parties with that.
definitely. And like my youngest daughter, her dad's brother is actually a registered offender.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
needless, and her dad messed with one of her sisters. So needless to say, she's not allowed to go to her dad's.
Yeah.
Cause I done told him I'll go ahead and say it. I get in trouble. I get in trouble. I done told him I'll slit your throat and not think twice about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, no doubt.
I can't tell you what I told him I'd do before I slit
Yeah.
it. Let's
Yeah.
just say it involves a certain body part.
The other neck. Yeah.
Right. I that's something I don't play with. Not at all.
Yeah. I agree.
And for this to be such a small community, that there's quite a few of them in this community,
Yeah.
and they
Indeed.
all know how I am.
Well, Ghetto, I believe the world is a stage as well. I think most of the people we see are actors or they are puppeted, even down to like Gil Bates and your Falsey. They are all spokesmodels, in my opinion, being used by people above them. Everyone answers to someone. I promise you, Falsey answers to someone telling him what to do. I promise you, Gil answers to someone telling him what to do. It all comes down to the money. And we have actors who present all of this to us on the world stage, but I don't think we actually have any idea who's really running it. Who's the producer, the director, the stage manager? You never see those people on stage. I was a drama nerd. There's a whole bunch of people in the back, light, sound, all of them have clipboards and headsets and talk to each other on walkie-talkies, and you never see them if they do their job right.
Right. I believe I'm like a lot of people, in which is probably a rabbit hole topic, but
Yeah.
we're actually run by shadow government.
Mm-hmm.
You, and we'll probably never find out who they are for certain.
Yep.
At least not till the NWO comes on the scene.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think we can blame the R names, your Rothschild and your, Rockefellers, and
Rockefellers.
yeah, because they are such household names. Okay,
Mm.
so who's that step right above you? I'm not sure. I I haven't ruled out that it leads to the devil himself
I believe it does.
in some
That's
way.
exact. That's exactly what it's coming down to.
Hmm.
I believe he's already on scene. He's just not in the public eye quite yet.
Maybe so.
And that the Bible says we're to keep, our eye to the sky. And to look, we're to keep an eye out for the man claiming to come in peace.
Huh.
You know,
Yeah.
and to be ye not deceived. But millions and all will be deceived.
Yeah. I think 90% or so is what the scriptures say.
Yeah,
Um, and I find it interesting if the good book says we'll be deceived and look to the sky for both the good and the bad. Look at how much we are looking to the sky in perhaps deception or whatever, with all of the satellites, with all of the space missions, the space force, the aliens are here. Oh, there's lights over this city. What is it? Um, all of that stuff. We rely on the sky and the cloud for our technology, and we also look up, just like our ancestors did, in a sense, worshiping what is above us and out there. And right now, it's technology and information. And
right.
that is the root of all the deception is bad information.
It is. The Bible talks about people worshiping technology and whatnot.
Hmm.
I mean, back then they didn't know what technology was, so they had to have different terminology for it. You know, just
Uh-huh.
like just like when they were talking about war, they was talking about plowshares, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You know, where when we think of war, we're thinking tanks and missiles and all that. So
If you read the Vedas, the Vedic texts, which are from India, all, well, I can't say all, that's too encompassing, but many of the paperclip scientists who worked on space programs and the like, they loved the Vedic texts because those mythologies describe wars in the sky and battles and gods and the pictures of some of the technology in there. That's, I mean, it's mind blowing. It's far older than Western technology. And kind of like if you look at Leonardo da Vinci's drawings and sketches, it's kind of like, wow, how did this guy know that? Well, you go back 1,000, 1,500 years before those drawings, and you'll find them in Hindu texts. And I find it interesting that India is one of the most populated countries, yet it is still an undeveloped nation, because we have had the Western world and the Asian world they're right next to has had their knees on India's neck for a very, very long time. They're, but maybe that's so they can hide things like Ayurvedic medicine or some of the technologies that are ancient. And you'll find this all over the world. The Western philosophers buried and covered up the ancient knowledge.
They did. That's just like you can go back and look at the Egyptian hieroglyph, the paintings.
Yep.
There's a word for it and I can't pronounce it. But you know, you can look back on that, you know, and you find so much history. And you'll see where what's going on now happened back then as well. Same thing with the Mayans and the
Yeah.
Aztecs.
Yeah.
You're right, Von Eric. You're right. He does walk to and fro. I like the Indian culture as well, Monique. I have real good friends that, you know, are from India.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned a lot from them. I just can't eat their food.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
My stomach don't let me eat spicy foods. I was working for him at one time, and the man had come down from Cleveland. Was living up in Cleveland, Ohio, and his wife come down about 2 months after he did. And first thing she had cooked was some black-eyed peas.
Mm,
Oh, okay, I'm a Southern girl,
right.
so you know I love me some black-eyed peas. So my best friend comes out and said, Mom cooked some black-eyed peas. And so I accepted a bowl of them. Needless to say, I did not finish it. 2 bites in, and I was looking for some milk or something to cool my mouth down. But they're good. They're good people, though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Bug Dude, I think that's a cyclical thing. Pretty much every civilization that we know about has fallen, been destroyed, or been conquered, and maybe it's our turn, you know.
Every great empire has fallen. And that's what America, is looked upon as an empire. So it may very well be our turn to
Yep.
fall.
Monique, that's funny. I love chicken pot pie. But I hear you on the Ayurvedic medicine. It's very interesting. A lot of natural things and um, something to think about with turmeric. India has pretty low rates of cancer, and
The,
many think it's the turmeric. They have a lot of turmeric in their food. In
and
fact,
go ahead.
in the US, I don't know if they passed it successfully, but they were trying to block turmeric from being sold in grocery stores. You can find it in the produce section, the root itself, and it's not processed. It's the proper root. Well, they classify it. They're trying to classify it as medicine, and therefore it will not be able to be sold just like that. It'll have to be regulated, and they're trying to take control of it. So, like JH, if you all can grow turmeric and ginger, those are being squeezed.
Right. They are. And which, a lot of Hispanic cultures doesn't really have a high rate of cancer either.
Oh, right.
Hey,
Interesting.
how are you, honey? It is.
Hey,
I just
Ohio.
I thought about that, a couple of years ago. I'm like, you don't hear very many Hispanics having cancer.
Oh, the cilantro, Monique. Maybe so. Yeah. Places that you are herb heavy because herbs, pretty much every herb and even vegetables are medicines in some sense. They're good for your body in some sense. Um, it seems to me cancer is huge in the Western diet. It's all of our processed crap and our um, artificial foods. I think Japan, I want to say Osaka, but that might not be right. But Japan also has one of the highest rates of centenarians because of the diet. They eat a lot of fish, they eat good fats and plenty of the vegetables, and everything's pretty lean as far as processed items, you know.
That's true, Monique. But I understand you completely there, Virginia. Like I eat a lot of garlic and
Oh yeah.
onion, and high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, just about anything you can throw at my family, we have. We've had.
Right.
My blood pressure was has been slightly elevated the last couple of times that I've been they've checked it or whatnot. But they just told me to cut out my fatty foods and whatnot, and we're gonna try the diet for about 3 months. So
Yep. Well, so you're in that 90 days right now?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's good. That's exactly what you do with an elimination diet to reset your body a little bit and figure out what you're sensitive to. It takes about 3 months, but slowly introduce the foods in again, and hopefully you'll stay healthy and stick with us.
I hope and pray so. I really do. I ain't ready to let go of the earth yet. Ne- Neither one of my youngins is ready for that. Especially
Yeah,
my oldest. She's calling me every day, Mama. Mama, how do I do this?
that's really cute, though.
It is. As long as, they're not bringing their problems to me, I'm good. They tried that yesterday and my nerves was shot in a damn minute.
No doubt. I have the same issue. I have two adult sons, and they're very different, um, and very different as far as the amount of stress they cause. But one of them moved out last week, so now they're both gone. But anyway, in this last week, he's come home multiple times with, hey, I don't have this, or can I borrow this right quick, or how do I do this, or mom, how do you make sloppy joes, in a text. It's really, really cute, and it makes you feel good when they get out and try to figure life out and make it in this world. It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
It is. I was worried when my oldest daughter got married. I was like, cause I got married young myself. She was a little bit older than I was though, but so far it's working, pretty good for them. So they both the same age, so they have a lot of the same interest and all.
Right.
And I got lucky. I've got an excellent son-in-law.
Yeah, so you're not going to New York, you're doing the you guys taking him to the airport and just not going to do the drive.
Right.
Well, that's probably better overall. You're right, the cost of fuel is awful.
It is. It's like 2.79 a gallon here. And I know in a lot of other places, everybody's like, "Well, that's good price."
Yeah.
But we're not used to that here. We used to it being, around anywhere from 1.79 to $2 a gallon.
Right. So when he got his plane ticket, I'm curious, are the airlines forcing people to show their papers, or how is what is going on with that?
As far as I know, they haven't asked for proof yet, in which he'll be purchasing his ticket officially this upcoming Wednesday.
Okay.
Um, But as far as I know, they're not. But even if, they do, he has proof because he had the first jab.
Okay. Well,
He
that's
just
good. He's
ain't
not.
the second. They
Yeah.
just ain't got the boost.
Oh, yeah. I'm in Washington State. I'm a couple of hours away from Seattle, but in order to eat or go into any place now in Seattle, I believe in King County entirely, you have to show documentation just to go to a Taco Bell or to a store or anything. You cannot buy, sell, trade, eat, do anything without proof. And I I don't know. It's almost like I cannot even believe it. I'm far enough from the city that I don't see it, but I know that's what's going on. My sons got tickets for a football game the day after
Mm.
Christmas, a pro game, and they're super stoked on it, spent $800, and they have to show papers to get in the stadium. Um, Much to my chagrin, one of them did sleeve up, so he has the paperwork. The other one refuses to sleeve up, and he um, is going to do, you can do a test. If it's within 72 hours, they'll let you in for major functions like a football game.
Right. That's one thing about, when we was talking about actually driving up there, you both have, I've heard Angry Prepper, talking about it for months now.
Mhm.
That, they're wanting proof of everything. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I can't go in New York.
Yeah, you would have been screwed. I want
Right.
to say almost the whole state is at that point. Um,
And it's
Monique,
crazy.
I September is, my goodness, I can't imagine. And for you guys, Monique, it's more, it's, is it everywhere or is it just your province or is it all of Canada? I can't, I want to say that Quebec said no and they don't do it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know Prince Edward Island has. If
Oh
you go
man,
off the island and you go to come back and you don't have proof, they won't let you back on it even if you live there.
really?
Yeah, I've got a real good friend that lives up there.
Oh my goodness.
And I told her, I
Holy
said, well, I
crap.
can't come see you. And what
Oh,
she has
September's
proof.
the worst. That is so scary just to think that we won't be able to travel even in our own states or you know, from one to another. It is really scary.
It is. I am so sorry, Monique. That that's awful.
Okay, so Quebec is the worst. I was backwards. That is crazy.
It is. It really is.
Hmm.
And if Canada's already doing it, we're not far, from all the potato head trying to, overstep again.
Yeah.
But I know, most of the southern states is, and some of the north ones is, some of them will crumble and, fall
Mm-hmm.
in line. But like Florida and Texas, I don't think they will. Georgia, I'm on the fence about because I really and truly do not trust our governor. I think he's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Mm. Yep. No shortage of those.
Mm-mm. So I'm really looking forward to getting him out of office next or this upcoming year.
Right.
And which, as I've said before, guy I grew up with, his wife is actually running for governor, and she's got a good head on her shoulders. I agree, Ghetto.
Well, Ghetto, how
Uh,
would that make us an enemy? I could see it either way.
I agree. They, if you have several states, bordering, your own, like let's say in the middle of the country, and let's say that your state's the only one that, doesn't follow through with what the government wants,
Right,
but all the other ones around you, agreed to it.
right.
So, that would make your state an enemy.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I'm noticing that a lot of states are pushing to not do any of the mandating, and I'm hopeful that that is going to spread. I believe Montana and Idaho, I believe the Dakotas are refusing. There's quite a few up here north. It's just you don't hear about them as much. We only hear about the population centers like New York and um, large cities. But I notice it's a lot on the coasts. The strongest restrictions seem to be on the coasts, either west or east, and
Right.
really gets me wondering about, with our borders along those oceans, with the shipping, we already see that with supply disruptions and all of that. I think there's a connection between dots there with our financial, economic, being able to get the supplies that are needed. Something is sabotage right in that, I think. Hey, Independent.
Hey, Miss Independent, how are you, hon? That's true, Ghetto.
Yeah.
That is certainly true. They really and truly could, come after us. Especially with, the Red Dragon trying to build a base, not far up underneath Florida. And, I didn't realize till I think it was day before yesterday. I was watching um, Summers in Alaska's YouTube channel, and some people, some of their followers had asked them if you could see Russia from Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there thinking to myself, surely you can't see Russia from Alaska.
Yeah,
And
you
they
can.
said, sure. That I didn't realize how close Russia was to Alaska.
Yeah.
I think they said
Um,
55 miles.
I believe Sarah Palin would quip that. She kind of joked about it, like, "Yeah, I can see Russia from my deck."
Right.
Yeah,
That,
Alaska stretches all over the Aleutian Islands that go all the way across, and yeah, Russia's they're very very close.
right. And I know Native and several other people said, that it wouldn't take much for Russia to come after the Aleutian Islands, and that's a strategic point for us.
Hmm.
As long as we hold the line there, maybe they won't come after the rest of us.
It's some rough territory, though. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a weak point, and at the same time, it'd be pretty difficult to traverse that whole land bridge without interception.
Right.
So yeah, I can see that either way as well, honestly. Um, I don't think the big R is our big enemy, though.
I don't either. I think we got to worry more about, you know, C.
Yeah, I agree.
They're way too sneaky.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know Russia's been, pushing the border, flying their jets into our airspace and whatnot. But, we do the same thing.
100%.
They've always taunted each other. Always.
Pissing on trees.
Exactly.
All right,
That's
Miss Georgia,
exactly.
I'm gonna jump down and my son's running around in circles. I just wanted to come up for a minute and I'll still be in your chat, okay?
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.
All right. Oh, it just started trying to rain. I like the rain. They might would be on Canada's side, Monique, but Putin's already said that Russia will never side nor come in defense of the U.S. Oh, I hope they don't do that, independent meaning. I really and hope they don't. That's just it's getting to be way too much. As far as I know, well, I haven't heard of any of the new sickness in my county. I don't even think I've heard of any in the state at all. They might, Monique. They may very well. They might surprise us. But like I said, I'm more worried about NK than I am most the rest of them. I don't think I've ever heard them be this quiet for this long. And I got excited today. I was actually able to purchase 3 walkie-talkies. I'll have one. My parents will have one, and my oldest daughter will have one. And it should cover, the mileage between all 3 of us. That's sweet, Monique. That's one thing we need to do is, strategize. Maybe that's what we'll do Sunday is, strategize a bit. I also think if it ever come down to it that there'd be another underground railroad, like they had back in the Civil War and all. Because we all know that, some of the states won't, concede the big G. My thing is this thing is causing rifts in so many families. I have 2 uncles, that got the jab. One of my uncles is very outspoken about it, and the other one not so much. But my dad, is like me. We gotta stay in the line. That's like Native and Ghost this morning was talking about the Georgia Guidestones, which is about 2.5, 3 hours away from me, I think it is. And those talking about, coming down this way and checking it out. And I told Native in a comment, I said, y'all come to Georgia, let me know. I'll meet y'all there. Because I've lived in Georgia my whole life, but up until here recently, I had never heard of the Georgia Guidestones. Oh no, JH. I understand that completely, Monique. I understand that completely. Cancer is not a fun thing. And I honestly believe that they have a cure for cancer, but the big pharmaceutical companies, won't will only allow certain people to get the cure because that's their cash cow. Monique, I'm scared to say, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to go nowhere. And the crazy thing is, the common cold's the same thing. All this thing is a souped up cross between the common cold and the flu. And you look up cold and you look up flu and you get this craziness. It's their way of trying to control us. And I've always been a rebel. I don't like for people to tell me what to do. I have too much of my mama in me. JH, just know that our prayers and thoughts go with you and your uncle. I can't either, Monique. I really can't. I mean, studying the Bible, we all knew it was coming one day. I just didn't really believe it'd ever be in my lifetime. You're welcome, JH. Cancer is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I've had so many family members pass away with it till it's not funny. And which cancer is never funny. But like I said, I'll get everything laid out and do a prep and haul video tonight, and I'll either post it tonight or in the morning. It'll probably be tomorrow before I post it because I know there's a couple of lives tonight, so I'll be in and out of chats on those. And then tomorrow I'll take and I probably won't be on YouTube much. I'll be putting everything, in Mylar bags and sealing them up and all. Oh no, Monique. See that's just not right. That's not right at all. They using this stuff to to, you know, let the population die off. And I can't say that the cootie's not real because I know it is. I have a family member that passed away with it. And I mean, she was healthy as a horse. It is, Monique, I agree. You know, it is exhausting living in this day and time. I'm glad she got to, you know, pass away at home. There's a lot of people that don't really get, you know, to do that. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I gotta get in here and eat and get some stuff done. But I will be, you know, on some of the lives tonight in chat. And I want to thank y'all all for coming. And I appreciate y'all. And Miss Virginia, thanks for coming up on panel. I'm gonna start posting the StreamYard link in the chat when I first come on, and anybody that wants to jump up on panel, I'm alright with it. So just, you know, we'll just sit and chit chat if nothing else. Thank you, Monique. I'll see you later. All right, guys. Y'all stay prepped up, stay prayed up, and y'all be safe, please. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Peace out.